Welcome, my viewer. This is Health Now Show, your health friend, with me, Jane Kariuki. I'm glad to invite you and welcome you to our session today. And we are taking your feedback. We have been receiving your feedback. We want to thank you for the feedback that you've been giving us concerning our program. And I would request that we continue doing that, because this is the only way that we will know that we are reaching out to you. We are reaching out to where you are, at home, at work, so that we can be able to help you more. We all know that this month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And the theme for this year is Together for Mental Health. And in life, we encounter challenges in different areas of our lives, at work, at home, and any other place. One area that is very much having a lot of issues, a lot of concerns it's in the family, in our marriages. There are challenges in our marriages. Situations come, divorce comes, separations come, domestic violence come, and many other things that affect our marriages and our happiness in those marriages. The intention of our marriage is to have healthy, mentally, physically, and everything else, so that we can work as individuals, as couples, as families that are happier. And being this month Mental Health Awareness Month, we are very concerned about our families. And that is why today I am joined by a couple that work in our church, and they have been doing a lot of work with families. They're in charge of the marriage and family counseling and marriage and family support, and they start way into the premarital counseling. And they are my friends, they are ministers in church, and I would just allow them to introduce themselves, and then we can go along. But I would say to our viewer, sit back, allow us to work with you, because I know good things are happening, and so that our marriages can be happier places for us to be. So thank you so much, my guests today. I would really invite you to introduce yourself to our viewers, and I will start with just next to me. Kindly introduce yourself.
I'm Anastasia Mutuku. Professionally, I'm a nurse, I'm a psychologist, counselor, and a Christian counselor as well. And I'm glad to be here this afternoon just to share a few things with you. And me, together with my husband, we are pastors in the marriage and family, and we are glad to work together with the couples, and again, those that are aspiring to get married. So welcome. I know we are going to be blessed together.
Asante sana Anastasia.
Thank you.
Karibu mchungaji.
Thank you. My name is Pastor Joseph Mutuko, born again, and I pastor in the Word of Faith Church, Kiambu, heading the Department of Marriage and Family. And as we all know that everything boils back to the family. When our families are well, then everything else, community, society, our country will be well. So most of the problems that we are finding is that we can trace them back to the families, because families are the basic units in any society. So I believe today our discussion will be fruitful and helpful to someone out there.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
I would just pick from where Pastor Mutuko has added that all starts in the family, the unit. And I would say that it doesn't matter economic level, socioeconomic level, or race, or faith. it's about marriage, it is about family. In these families, I don't think, because I'm also in a marriage, I'm also in a family, I don't think there is happiness from January to 31st of December. And as you have been interacting with couples and families in your ministry, I guess there could be some issues, some challenges, some concerns that you have experienced with them. And just some of the most critical things. Where would you like us to start on the very critical issues that make our families breeding places for depression and other mental health illnesses in our families? So who would like to go first? Pastor Anastasia?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. As you have rightly put it, is that there is no single time that will be happy all through from January to December.
Mm-hmm.
Because as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
with all the differences that we have,
Yeah.
we are bound to have conflicts
Mhm.
in our marriages and even in our families.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have a couple who does not understand how or the personality of the spouse,
Mm-hmm.
it really becomes a challenge.
Mhm.
Because instead of helping somebody to become better, they
Mhm.
start condemning them,
Mm-hmm.
they start judging them,
Mm-hmm.
and there conflicts arise.
Mm-hmm.
And not many couples are willing to go for counseling
Mm-hmm.
or even to seek for help.
Mm-hmm.
They start confronting each other.
Mm-hmm.
They are not willing even to resolve their own issues.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore it becomes a real problem.
Mhm.
So to say that communication has been one of the most challenging areas in the families.
Mm-hmm.
Because when somebody is not willing to speak out,
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody offends you, you are not ready to tell them that whatever you have done has not made me happy. Somebody just sits back and waits, maybe for a miracle to happen, or maybe the spouse will get to know what is going on in their minds, and then it becomes a problem. So with that, I think I can allow my husband to continue.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
communication is key,
Yeah.
even in the happiness or unhappiness in the family.
Yeah.
Okay, Pastor Mtoko.
Thank you very much.
Mm.
As she rightly said,
Mm-hmm.
the most critical thing in the family is
Yeah.
communication.
Yes.
Where there is no communication,
Mm-hmm.
then there is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you find people having stresses,
Mm-hmm.
because we know economically people are stressed.
Mm-hmm.
But those stresses
Mm-hmm.
are supposed to come to the family,
Mm-hmm.
and the family discuss, and you are able to get the solution.
Mm-hmm. But
But the moment you are not communicating,
mm-hmm.
then it means
Mm-hmm.
then those stressors
Mm-hmm.
will still remain with each person.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be having something in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody will know what you are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for us to discuss
Mm-hmm.
issues. The other thing that I would like to comment on
Mm-hmm.
is that marriage
Mm-hmm.
is made in heaven,
Mm-hmm.
but lived on earth. So we need to understand that on earth there are challenges,
Mm-hmm.
and every family has challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is how the couple is going to negotiate
Mm-hmm.
the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
That is what will make a happy marriage,
Mm-hmm.
or it will make the marriage to break.
Uh-huh.
One thing that we can say is that God was the author of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Genesis chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
verse 18 down to 25,
Mm-hmm.
it talks about God initiating a family.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's the initiator of the family, there is something that he said, that man will leave his father and mother, be joined to his wife, and they will become one flesh.
Mm-hmm.
That becoming one flesh is what the enemy always fights.
Mm-hmm.
Because becoming one flesh does not necessarily mean you are sharing one bed.
Mm-hmm.
It means you need to be one in spirit,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be one emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
and that you'll be able to negotiate
Mm.
any challenge that comes.
Mm-hmm.
You are able to get a way out.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I can say is that the same scripture says, the last verse, verse 25, that they were, Adam and Eve were naked and not ashamed. Sometimes you find people do not understand what that means. They look at the physical nakedness.
Mm.
But in marriage, what that means is that there must be transparency,
Uh-huh.
nakedness in spirit, nakedness emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And when people know that they need to be nakedness, there needs to be nakedness in that relationship, then they will be transparent. And one of the things in the course of dealing with the couples that has come out clearly is that there is no transparency, especially when it comes to the issues of money. That becomes a problem because there are secrets within the financial management. But the Bible says, for that reason, when they become one, they cleave to one another, they become one. So everything is for that one, not the individual ones. And something else that we need to understand is that marriage is for two people who come together when they are adults.
Yes.
That means they have lived two separate lives.
Yes.
And they have their challenges. They have their way of looking at issues. They have their way of doing things, and then you bring them together. I always say that in such a case, when those two people come together, it's like there's a bang. It's the two people collide. There's a collision. And where there is collision, two things must happen.
Yes.
Number one, there is heat.
Yes.
When two cars collide,
Yes.
first of all, if fire does not come out,
Yes.
there is heat.
Yes.
That heat
Yes.
needs to be absorbed so that the fire does not come out. The other second thing that happens is that there is a change of course. The direction where those two objects were going then has to change. If you watch two cars that collide, they don't move to either direction of the collision. They move to a different, totally new direction. Likewise in marriage, when two people collide together,
Yeah.
one flesh means you have to change the course. And no one should push the other to believing or to doing what they used to do.
Okay.
They need to come to a common ground where they have to solve the issues. That heat, they have to look for a way of absorbing that heat.
Yes.
And the heat may be in the form of financial constraints. The heat may be in the form of communication, how to deal with conflicts. All those issues are the heats that are found in that institution. And we need to understand that the institution of marriage was created by God, and it's a perfect institution. And because it's a perfect institution, the people who enter there are imperfect. And that's where there are problems because of our imperfection. Therefore, we need to involve God, who is the author of that institution, so that we can be able to absorb this heat in a godly way.
True.
Yes.
You have been working in the Christian setting.
Yes.
Most of your work in terms of families and couples in the Christian setup, in the church. I want to believe that some of the challenges that are not necessarily for people who are going to different churches, they could be everywhere. But I would like us to zero in on the issues that you really see, one, like what are some of the key issues that families that come to church are experiencing. But that will be after the break, a very short break. And we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we are going now to look at what are those issues that we need to address, that we need to focus on to, that we may not go into the way of mental health issues, and mostly of what we are talking about, depression. Stay tuned, our viewer. Welcome back, our viewer. We are still with the couple, the Mutukos, and we'll continue on. They're going to continue sharing with us what are some of the key issues, the salient features of this marriage that is having issues, that is having problems, that is having some areas that need to be addressed. And I'll start with Anastasia. In your work, in your interacting with the families, what are some of the challenges that you know that you have had them sharing with you that they're experiencing in their families?
Thank you. One of the challenges is unwillingness for the couples to be open, especially in the area of finances.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even the ladies feel like they don't need to be working,
Mm-hmm.
because the men are meant to be the providers.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they want to stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
They want, in the name of being housekeepers,
Mm-hmm.
they want to take care of the babies
Mm-hmm.
and taking care of their own issues.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ladies who are working,
Mm-hmm.
they argue that their money is theirs,
Mm-hmm.
but the husband's money
Mm-hmm.
is for the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
So you find the husband is really straining, trying to meet the needs of the family, while the lady is just relaxing, using her money the way she wants, maybe helping her relatives, going shopping, and that time she's just doing her shopping for herself, and possibly for the children, and not even caring about the husband. Yeah, it has been a real issue.
It is a real issue. Pastor Mutuko.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, you find, as she rightly said, all that is boiling down to the financial management in the home. So you find in many homes, they don't have a plan for the money. So they have conflicts that bring stresses to their lives, because they have no proper plan, they have no budget to do. So they have forgotten that even the money that comes into the family, whether from the wife or husband, belongs to the family, the one that was formed when the two came together. So that one is a very critical area where people have problems. The other thing that we have found with couples, some of them have expressed the problems with sexual, their intimacy. And then you find some use that opportunity to either punish the other spouse, simply because probably he or she has not done something there. Therefore, they use that as a weapon. The other problem is that sex should not be used as a weapon. Neither should it be used as a reward. It is a right to the couple. God created to be enjoyed by the couple. So most of the couples who come with a problem, they have the root from the bedroom affairs. The other problem that we find is in terms of children. You find families have problems. They have children, and then instead of having a common way of training these children, you find the wife is saying this, the other one, the husband is saying this, simply because of the influence of their family of origin.
True.
Some go to an extent of saying, I never saw my mother do this, I never saw my father do this, but they forget this is a family unit which should be run according to the right thing.
Okay.
And by so doing, you find when it comes to the issue probably not punishing actually, of disciplining the children, then you find there is a collision.
Okay.
And that brings also a problem, because now that child will grow knowing, if my dad is the one who's a disciplinarian, when he's not there, then I'm not, I'm safe.
I can do whatever
I can do whatever I want. But when there is no proper coordination, then that child will have a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, because they will look at one person who disciplines them, and the other person becomes helpless.
Okay.
Or you hear sometimes they say, I'll come to report you to dad, or I'll come to report you to mom. That means the other person, according to that child, this person does not have authority over the child.
True.
And that's the problem we are finding, even being projected even in schools, in colleges, because of the failure of proper discipline, because there was no oneness in the disciplining of these children. The other problems that we find is lack of time, creation of time for one another. That is also a stressor. You find we have become so busy, and the people are busy working, others are busy doing other things, that they don't have time together. And by so doing, you find you hear a couple come with a complaint. I don't see my wife, I don't see my, probably my wife is always in the church, is always in the choir or in this, and that brings a problem.
Yeah.
There was a story given that a certain wife was supposed to be in the choir, and the pastor demanded that she should be there every day for choir practice. So you find now the husband, although he was saved, he had to complain. And then started saying, no, you see now, if you cannot create time for us, then you are always in church, then it becomes a problem.
Okay.
Because these other members of the family will see that as a distraction that is trying to rob them their time with their mother or father.
Okay.
So there should be a balance between that. The other thing that we find is that people have no input. They have not understood what marriage is all about. And that's when you hear people come and they say, you see, my husband does not work. He's always in the shopping centers. He's always doing this and that, but he doesn't provide. But marriage means you come together, provide for the family, you grow together as a family.
Okay.
Yes.
Families and marriages have a lot of things that we may not be able to exhaust in a sitting. But because of our time, I will request that you share one thing that you're doing in the church to strengthen family.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What we have noted in the family, because of the problems that they are facing.
Yes.
First of all, we have designed a premarital class that takes 6 months with 2 sittings a month. That amounts to 12 lessons in marriage that the prospective couples have to go through. And that has become a mandatory requirement. They have to go through those 6 months of training,
Yeah.
so that when they enter into the marriage, they know exactly what is required.
True.
By the grace of God, we have been able to design a manual covering those 12 lessons. And it is in one of the lessons is talking about the temperaments. So they have to understand who they are, why they behave the way they behave, and then they know when they come together, everyone has his own makeup. You are not meant by the same clay.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And therefore, you should not expect the other person to think the way you are thinking.
True.
And how are you coming together so that you can complement one another and not compete? Because most of the stresses in the family is because of competition in different areas. So when they go through that class, by the time they are done, they will have known how to deal with themselves. They will have known what one fleshy relationship means. They will have known how to deal with the conflicts, how to do parenting. They will have known how to carry out themselves. They will have known that marriage is a covenant relationship and what the covenant requires them to do. They will have known how to deal with the sexual issues, how to deal with the conflicts in marriage, how to have good communication skills. So that is one of the remedies that we are putting as a department. We have a team in that department where we are dealing with that. So for premarital classes, we deal with that. For those who have already been in marriage and they have not been able to go through that training, we arrange seminars for them. We have marriage counseling. And if somebody comes and requires further referral, then we refer them to the relevant places where they can get help. But the key thing is marriage must be worked on. At the day of wedding, people come together. After honeymoon, that is when marriage starts. Because things start opening up. You have to be yourself. You cannot cover yourself anymore. Now you have to be transparent to the other person. So now that becomes the time to start working on your marriage. So if you have the knowledge of what is required, then as you work through your marriage, then that process will make you have marriage that is stable and you are able to deal with issues that affect that marriage.
True. And then you are able to reduce the stresses because you already have some information.
Right.
Premarital counseling is very, very important, as you have rightly put it. When I was preparing to get married, I went in one sitting with a pastor where my husband, my fiancé was going to church that time. And we were asked only 2 questions. That premarital counseling that we did. We were asked, have you seen the parents? Mumeona wazazi? Mnataka kupata watoto wangapi? Nikasema watatu. I got 2, but I said 3. So that was all about our premarital counseling. And the issues that we went through before we could now know and get to seek help were very many because we never went and we didn't have that foundation. Because I'm hearing you say that foundation is very, very key. And that is why even I was able to even participate in the premarital classes, sharing my experiences because I knew what I went through.
Right.
Our time is really pressing us so much. But I would just like to ask whether we have a parting shot from Anastasia. What would you say?
Maybe before I give the parting shot, I say that besides the premarital classes, we also have mentoring couples that are taking our newly wedded couples through the process of marriage for 1 year to mentor them. And again, we also are advising them to go for counseling, them that have got issues. Otherwise, I would love to say that besides the challenges in marriage, marriage is good. It is workable. May not anyone discourage you from getting married or staying in marriage, because marriage is good. As long as you are willing to work out your differences, you are willing to put your input into the marriage, then it will work for you. And because it is God ordained, the grace is sufficient. Yes.
Asante sana. Pastor, your parting shot.
Yeah, I would like to say that marriage is God designed. And therefore, when we find we have a problem, the first stage we should go to God and ask Him for the direction.
Yes.
The other thing that I would like to say is that marriage is workable. And there is work that needs to be worked on. And I would also like to say that people who get into marriage, they are not angels. And because they are not angels, they are bound to make mistakes. So when they make mistakes, they should go for solution, because that is not the end of the. Otherwise, those who end up in divorce or separation, you find there are so many emotional problems. You find it also affects the couple themselves. It also affects the children. And all that contributes to mental problems that we are seeing. Because divorce is not a solution. Separation is not a solution. Working together the differences is the key to a happy marriage. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so encouraged to hear that you're doing something that is making families to stand. And especially what Anastasia has mentioned, the mentoring couples, so that they can work with them, probably to get to see what are some of the areas that they need help, so that they can be helped. Our viewer, we come to the end of this session. It's time constraint that has made us to get to this far. I am looking forward to a time that we will come to have a longer session together with our guests today, and so that we can still look into the marriage and into the family and the issues that are ailing us, leading us into suicide, leading us into depression, leading us into divorces, leading us into separation and other issues, and having a lot of trouble with our children and and the young people. So for today, we'll stop there. But what we are saying is that there is help. What the classes that are being prepared, the premarital counseling, they are open for all of us. You can just get in touch with our church, and you'll be able to go to those classes, premarital counseling, have a foundation for your marriage and for your family. And I believe that you'll have happier marriages and healthier marriages. If you'd like to get in touch with us, kindly text us on +254 114 404 200. Until next time, bye for now. God bless you.